Nationality is a matter of law, and whereas one's primary nationality is mostly not consciously selected, a second nationality and an option to hold dual nationalities is an intentional and conscious decision with commitment to certain procedures and formalities. My name is Noella Seydu, and on our show today, we discuss dual citizenship. Don't go away, this is Law Express.
Benjamin Ofori, a private legal practitioner, enjoys reading and watching football in his leisure time. Hananichi Asako, a private legal practitioner, spends his leisure time reading, playing with his children and engaging in football. She is a private legal practitioner and a consistent member of our 3-lawyer panel on the show every week. She also doubles as the host of the show. She likes to play tennis and read.
Noella, we can't talk about dual citizenship without actually looking at what citizenship entails. You know, as we mentioned in our previous episodes, citizenship is a function of the law, and there are so many ways in which you can acquire citizenship. It is the operation of law as to whether you are a citizen or not, and whether being one, you can acquire one in addition to what you have already.
A dual citizen is somebody who has acquired both citizenship or two citizenship from different countries.
Great.
So what it means is that the person might be by birth from one country, and having traveled to another country, acquires it differently by registration, by marriage. Then the person now becomes a citizen of the two countries.
Okay, so you're looking at two jurisdictions?
Yes.
But yes, to add on to what you said, you can still renounce your primary citizenship, which is the one you acquired at birth or by function of your descent.
Yeah.
And then maybe naturalize to another one.
Yes.
And probably whilst there you marry somebody from a different place and then you register in that other country.
Yes.
So, I mean, there are many permutations to it, right?
You can even renounce it, and maybe by the operation of law, you might have the opportunity to reclaim it.
Yes.
Just as has happened in some countries recently. For instance, in Norway and recently in Germany, which previously did not allow its citizens to acquire citizenship from other countries, but now they do. And you can also acquire it by virtue of you being at a particular place at a particular time.
Yeah.
For instance, you were born in the UK or in the US, and both parents are Ghanaians, but by operation of law, where you were born, you acquired their citizenship. So
for a period.
that might be your primary citizenship.
Yes.
But then, subsequently, you realize that, look, I can also acquire the citizenship of my parents or my grandparents. So you come, and then Ghanaian law allows you. So you say, okay, I want to take up this one as well.
We have established the fact that our law permits dual citizenship. Yes, it's a great point to indicate that some countries do not tolerate dual citizenship. They want an exclusive citizenship, such that if you belong to those countries and you took on a new citizenship, effectively you're renouncing their nationality or citizenship.
Let me add that our law was just until 1996 that a law was passed to accept that. In fact, the Constitution was amended to accept that. What it meant was that prior to 96, if you gain the citizenship of another country, you renounce that of Ghana. But after that amendment, we've been permitted to hold the dual citizenship per our Constitution.
Great. What will make somebody choose to go on the route of dual citizenship? But what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages? Probably we start with the advantages.
Well, yeah. So it's what I'll probably term the best of both worlds. You want to be able to enjoy the benefits that come with being a citizen in your two countries. So, for instance, if let's say you are a citizen of Ghana and a citizen of an advanced country, you have the benefit of enjoying the rights and privileges that come with holding those nationalities. For instance, in Ghana, you can acquire property, you can set up businesses, you can enjoy all the perks that come with being a citizen. In other advanced countries, you can enjoy some of the rights and privileges that come with citizens, like maybe paying lower tuition fees for education, maybe access to very good healthcare facilities.
I think you're lumping them up. Perhaps we could take them one at a time. So let's look at the business bit, which you started with. I mean, there are some activities in business in Ghana that are restricted to only citizens, such that non-citizens cannot participate in those activities.
Exactly.
So,
and also there's also the opportunity for you to acquire, let's say, property
for a longer tenure.
For a longer tenure, unlike what pertains for non-citizens, which is just 50 years.
You can go for an entire 99 years, if available.
Exactly.
I also think you can travel at ease. If you want to travel to your second country, you just pick your passport, you're gone. If you want to come to Ghana, you don't need a visa. You can simply just travel.
So global mobility in terms of visa applications and the expenses that come with those.
Exactly.
So you just, and even with travel, apart from the visa and the ease to go in and out of your country, so Ghana as a nation has some category or some list of countries that are visa-free for Ghanaian passport holders. So assuming your second nationality is Canadian, and you hold our passports as well, all the countries that a Canadian national can go to visa-free are also available to you.
Yes.
So if you want to travel the world, it gives you more options in terms of that ease of the travel and then in savings for probably the visa thing and the timelines that you need to wait and all the scrutiny that comes with those things.
That's true.
And there's also the opportunity for you to enjoy consular assistance
in times
whenever
of
you
distress.
find yourself in a situation of distress or hardship, because you hold that nationality. So let's say anything happens to you somewhere, you know, when they are evacuating Ghanaians, you would
be part,
yes, you would be
but
considered.
if you're a dual citizen, you can choose which of your countries you now want to end up in.
Exactly.
Such that if one of the countries is delaying in moving people, probably in times of unrest, probably your second
you can call on your second country.
Might be ready with a plane based on what resources they have to move you somewhere.
Exactly.
Voting rights.
Exactly.
Voting rights. You can vote. You can vote either way.
Yes.
So, for instance, a Ghanaian who probably holds an American citizenship has the opportunity to influence the outcome of the election in both Ghana and America this year. So you can be in America in November, vote,
and then
rush down to Ghana and vote in December.
I mean, this is a bit much for me because, you see, you can choose the outcome in one jurisdiction, and when things get bad, by reason of your participation, because you helped with that choice, you can just pack your bags and move on somewhere to avoid the consequence of your choices. But I mean, this is how the law operates, right?
Yes.
Healthcare.
You can also access healthcare in both countries. So what it means is that if you're in Ghana, if there's national health insurance, you can benefit from that. You can benefit from the insurance schemes in the other country as well, without any limitation, because you are indeed a citizen of both countries.
Yeah, especially if you have some unique ailments, you can look out for which country has better experts and the facilities to handle your situation.
Exactly.
And it can help you.
And it will be easy on your pocket, unlike what others would have to go through, because if you are not a citizen, then you might be required to pay out of pocket. And those are some of the advantages.
But that could also bring about certain drawbacks in terms of property rights. I say this because if you are Ghanaian and American, and the jurisprudence in terms of property sharing when there's a divorce are very different. If, for instance, the Americans apply a strict 50-50 policy regardless of the tenure of the marriage, contribution, and all of that. But in Ghana, it's more about proof of contribution and what is just and fair to either side. The person can just choose another jurisdiction as their personal law in a way that they will insist that maybe certain proceedings are handled there.
Yes.
So the woman or the man is living in Ghana, you are initiating a divorce and you choose to do it in America. Because you know you get
you get more
friendly
exactly
property distribution terms.
Yeah.
So these are some of the pros of having that.
And another one which I think we can also look at is, for instance, let's say international organizations, recruitment into international multilateral organizations. When we look at the quota system, whereby they try to at least have this form of geographical balance. If you have the citizenship, you have the dual nationality, you can decide that at any point in time, let's say you know that maybe this vacancy is coming up and perhaps you hold the nationality of a country which has an advantage in terms of the geographical balance. You apply with that nationality and then it gives you an upper hand against someone else who is coming from somewhere where there's an oversupply, more or less.
So at this juncture, I would go for a quick breather. And then when we come back, we'll continue with the pros and then move on to the cons of having a dual citizenship. This is Law Express. Don't go away.
Yeah, so in terms of education as well, that's another pro. You can look at the opportunities in both countries and then you pick which one best suits your skill sets and which one best suits your talent. So for instance, let's say in Ghana, there are some courses that are being offered by some universities which you might think that what you aspire to do, you would be better suited if you study in Ghana. But you can then apply and be admitted as a Ghanaian instead of coming to pay
as a foreign national.
As a foreign national. Similarly, you can do that outside in your adopted country, and then you can apply as a national, and you wouldn't have to go pay any exorbitant fees that come with those who are applying as foreigners. If you are not even at the tertiary level, in Ghana we have what we call the free SHS. So if your other country, maybe the cost of high school is a bit exorbitant, you come to Ghana and you enjoy what we have now as free SHS as a Ghanaian.
Okay. Let's look at taxation. So tax cuts and the requirements for certain services. For instance, if you're registering a company as a non-Ghanaian, the stated capital requirement is usually higher than for Ghanaians. And there's a requirement to have a Ghanaian included in it. So if you hold both nationalities, you wouldn't have to add on people that ordinarily you wouldn't have wanted to work with. But for the requirement to add a Ghanaian director, you know. When you started this conversation, you talked about dual nationality being that opportunity of having the best of both worlds. But we also know it's a two-edged sword.
Exactly.
And that you could also end up with the worst of both worlds based on which countries you chose. So can we move on to the disadvantages or cons of holding dual nationality?
Yeah. In as much as it comes with the advantages, there are also some disadvantages. So in Ghana, for instance, if you are a dual national, there are certain offices that are restricted to you, which you cannot aspire to. If you have dreams of maybe going into the higher echelons of, let's say, public office, like becoming the president or becoming a member of parliament, you cannot do it if you are holding the dual citizenship. And there are some other positions which don't give you that that also restricts you as well. So you are not able to do it simply because you hold allegiance to more than one country.
I think it's a thing of loyalty. Because if you hold a certain delicate role and you still owe allegiance, because at the end of the day, that allegiance is what is the trust of the entire citizenship. So if you are torn and you owe allegiance to two different countries, then you get to decide at every given point, based on what is happening, which side you are going to support. And if one of the countries puts you in a place, a sensitive place of power, you might work against that country when it matters most. I think that's a function of this whole restriction.
Because there will come a time whereby you probably have a conflict of decisions where your two countries are in different places when it comes to certain issues, and you would have to make a decision.
Yes.
So where are you going to go to? Which decision are you going to take?
So, for example, an office like that of the IGP, if you are holding a dual citizenship, what do you do? Because at the end of the day, you are the Inspector General of Police for
very
one country, very
role,
sensitive role.
You know,
if you have to deal with another country, and that country also happens to be your second country or your second home, what happens? So, such sensitive positions you cannot hold if you're a dual citizen.
Yeah, that's by operation of the law.
Yes.
You know. Also, we're looking at, so the restrictions. I mean, you can be an MP.
You can't be a chief of defense staff.
Yes.
So it means that if you even join the army, you can't aspire to the highest office in the army simply because you are not a full citizen.
Yes.
You are 50-50.
Okay,
Yeah.
black and white.
Yeah. And another thing with which we probably have to avert our minds to is, for instance, if you are a dual citizen and maybe the other citizenship you acquired it probably through naturalization or whatever, the other country at some point, if maybe you break the law or do certain things, they can take it away from you.
Yeah.
So that's another issue.
But that still operates as an advantage, because then you still have a backup country to go to.
Yes.
Because they move you from here, you don't become stateless. You
Okay.
can always go back to your original country.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things we discussed earlier, okay, some of them could also turn out to be a worse situation for somebody. For instance, you are a citizen of one country, you have to pay taxes there. Okay, you
Yes.
need to perform certain obligations consistently to be recognized or to maintain that citizenship. But then you have another country which has similar obligations.
Yes.
At that point, you are subject of double taxation inadvertently, because there are some taxes you can do away with. They are imposed on you by virtue of your citizenship.
So let's take it that you own a property in both countries.
Yes.
You definitely have to pay the property tax for both countries.
Yes.
And so that will become an extra burden for you, most definitely. And some other taxes that, because you are a citizen of both countries, you will inadvertently be paying, like you said. So that will also be a cons in itself.
Okay.
Yeah, because there are some levies which you may be liable to simply because you are a national and you are deemed to be enjoying the protection of the state you live in. So you would have to also pay your fair share.
Yeah. I think that the disadvantages still run through in terms of still property rights issues and all the other human rights matters. I mean, you need to be abreast with the laws, both sides,
yes.
you know, of the, should I say the bridge, such that you know that when you are on within this territory, this is not allowed. You need to be well informed. If not, something that you're used to in another jurisdiction might just come back to hurt you when you go to another, because you would think that you wouldn't know, and ignorance of the law is not an excuse. You go and then you commit an offense only to say, oh, but in this other country is allowed. No, you need to know both ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Assume you are married to a national, and then there's a divorce proceeding. You are thinking that it's not going to be 50-50. It's presumptively going to be shared. And then here you'll be hit with a 50% share of your property. And then before you know it, that is it. That's the law there.
Yeah.
Of course, ignorance will not also be an excuse. So
Yeah.
you have to bear the brunt at that point. So
Okay. We will go into how to apply for dual citizenship. We all know and we all agree as a panel that based on recent happenings in this country in terms of within our jurisprudence, it's no longer necessary to hold a dual citizenship card. But this avenue of opportunity still is there for those who want it regardless. We sampled people's opinion on today's topic. Let's take a listen, and then we continue to what to do. Okay, let's explain to our viewers, yes, you own you hold two different citizenships, and you want to have a card that states on it that I'm a citizen of this country and another. What do you do?
citizenship is a status of an individual that has the right to possess two different countries simultaneously, and they have the right to possess marriage, birth, acquisition.
I'll still maintain my nationality as a Ghanaian because even though we have much crisis going on in the country, but at least I respect the peaceful nation that I have.
So I'd like to change my country to the United States of America if I'm given the chance to change citizenship. Because in Ghana here, you know, the lifestyle over here is not easy. And we all know that. But as compared to the United States of America, we have high standard living and everything over there. So that's why I'll change to the United States of America.
To me in particular, when I get the opportunity to change my nationality, I'll definitely go to Spain because since childhood, I've wanted to be a footballer, and Spain is the country with more opportunities for you to become a footballer. So to me in particular, I'll choose Spain.
Well, it's interesting that most of them were just eager to just change their nationality.
To dump us.
Yeah, only one person actually said that he wants to maintain his Ghanaian nationality because of the peace.
That's a true patriot.
That's one of the advantages. At least you know Ghana has peace. So wherever you go to, you can come back and enjoy the peace and comfort that comes with being a Ghanaian. But there are quite a number of interesting takes. There's one who was actually saying that he wants to change it because of the economic situation, which is also one of the advantages of having the option. The option of being here and being there. If, let's say, at any point in time, the economy in the country where you reside is not favoring you, you can decide to move, and then you come back home, or you go elsewhere and seek other opportunities and come back. Yeah. So I mean, it's a good.
I didn't see them as people who wanted to come back home. There was no option for Sankofa in that conversation.
Exactly, that was what I was just about to say.
They just wanted out. Period.
I think they are not looking at the advantages that comes with holding at least dual citizenship. They are looking at dumping us and
exit
then
opportunity.
But most of the time, those who actually say this, eventually when they get to the other side, they realize that look, grass is not always greener on the other
I mean,
side.
the grass could still be greener, but then you miss home. Home is home.
Exactly.
I mean, you miss the food, you miss the support, the social network, family. You might be making more money out there. You might have more opportunities, but who are you sharing that with?
Yes.
You're looking at the very essence of life. You miss the culture. You miss just how the fabric of our society is interwoven out here. And that can make you come back.
Yes.
So we will urge them, as much as they want to have better economic life, they want to have something out there, especially for the students who want to go in school, go get it done, but still maintain your citizenship of Ghana so that you can also enjoy the benefits that comes with being a Ghanaian.
I mean, they all had reasons that we had earlier on touched on the show when we talked about the advantages of holding a second citizenship.
Exactly.
Especially what struck me was the guy who wanted to go to Spain for football. Yeah, we know that Spain has a buoyant football, should I say,
Madrid and Barcelona
situation.
And the rest, yes.
Yes, and he's looking at that. I'm sure he'll be a fan of one of those high-end teams out there.
Yeah, so for professional reasons,
and that's valid. Because if you want to be an astronaut, for instance, how do you do that in Ghana? I don't know if we have that opportunity. And even if we do, would it be as competitive as other countries? Probably India, China, the United States,
Russia.
Yes. So you would want to go to a country that can support that dream. And maybe, just maybe, you could come back.
Yeah, because the good thing is that Ghana would allow you to take up nationality from elsewhere and still maintain your Ghanaian nationality. Yeah. So, yes, you can decide that you want to go out there, but just go out, explore, get all the opportunities. But Ghana is always there for you.
Home is always home, isn't
it?
Home is always home.
Home is always home.
Yes.
So, before we went to listen to Vox Pop, I introduced a bit about how somebody who really desires to hold a dual citizenship card should proceed. So, maybe this is a great time to start.
Yeah, so
bearing in mind that there are different categories as well.
Yeah, so but before we go there, we just have to understand that per the decision by the Supreme Court back in 2012, it is not really a requirement for you to hold the card for you to become a dual citizen.
It's not the ultimate proof.
It's not the ultimate proof that you are a dual citizen. You can hold a Ghanaian passport and be a dual citizen. But if you still want, and there are still some people who would actually want that because
for convenience,
they think it is for convenience. It eases a lot of things for them. So if you want to do that, there are two ways. Mostly, if you are applying, you can actually apply for it from wherever you are. So you can apply through our embassies abroad,
or the Ministry of Interior.
Yes, or if you are home, you just apply from the Ministry of Interior.
But before we go on to the rest, I mean, the other advantage of holding that dual citizenship card is how you explain to immigration on both ends. For instance, you're a Ghanaian living in America, you hold an American passport and you hold a Ghanaian passport. When you are boarding the plane to come to Ghana and you're going through immigration, because you do not require a visa, you need to use your Ghanaian passport to come to Ghana. When you arrive in Ghana, you enter with your Ghanaian passport. But now on your return, you're going back to America. You can use a Ghanaian passport without a visa. It means at that time, you need to switch to your American passport. Now, if subsequently immigration is vetting your documents,
they will ask, where is your visa?
Yeah, when you went, was it just one way? How did you? So you need, the card helps to fix the problem. I'm a dual citizen, and so I'm allowed to use both passports in and out of jurisdictions.
That provides you some convenience. That's true.
Yes.
But especially if you are coming in and you forget one passport, it means that you probably wouldn't be able to go back.
You can't go back out. You need to carry them together at every point. So the application process, you have to write a letter?
You have to apply to the minister and apply to become a dual citizen. And you need to purchase application forms.
Yes. But let's explain further that application letter. It's not just any application. You address it to the minister and you indicate that you're applying for dual citizenship card, I should say.
Yeah. So you indicate that you're applying for a dual citizenship card and the reason why you're applying for a dual citizenship card. So
and how you are a citizen in both jurisdictions, be it naturalization, registration, you know, by descent.
So minister here is the Minister of Interior.
Yes.
So emphasis.
So you attach to the form certain documents.
Yeah, you get the forms. You attach copies of your biodata page, 4 passport pictures
of both passports.
Yes,
biodata
page of both passports. Yes. You attach 4 passport pictures, and then you pay the processing fee. And also attach your birth certificate.
And then a copy of your naturalization certificate, if applicable.
If applicable,
yeah. The fees, I don't think we should go into because they keep changing from time to time. Yeah, you just make the inquiry and then. And what about for children born outside Ghana?
For children born outside, the child needs a copy of the birth certificate, a copy of the Ghanaian parents' passports, and a copy of the biodata page of the child's Ghanaian and foreign passports.
Okay, and that is in addition to the list we already mentioned earlier.
Yes, that's in addition to the list. Yes.
Okay, great. We know that the period is supposed to take about a month.
About a month,
yes.
To get your feedback.
Yes.
But where you make a mistake in the documents or they are not complete,
you need to start
they'll be returned back to you.
Yes, and you need to start the process all over again.
So by starting, I'm a bit puzzled here. Would you have to pay the fee again, processing fee again?
Yes, you have to pay the fee again.
Oh my gosh. So you are penalized for not doing the right thing.
Exactly.
So make sure that your act is put together. It's a good time to go for a break. When we come back, we'll look at the replacement of your card. So you've been granted a dual citizenship card. You're using it, and then for some reason, it gets lost. And also whether it expires, if at all. This is Law Express. Don't go away.
In order not to be penalized, or in order not for you to go back and restart the process again, you know that if the process doesn't meet the requirements, you have to start. And you have to pay again to start. So it's better you get an expert to assist you in the processing of
Call a lawyer, huh?
So, in effect, call a lawyer.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a lawyer, though. It could be somebody who understands immigration very well and somebody in that space.
Exactly.
But, of course, it's safer to talk to a lawyer because you're looking at data privacy and stuff like that. This person will deal with your information which is very personal to you.
Your lawyer will make sure all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you've now gotten yourself a dual citizenship card. You're using it and for some reason you lose it. Maybe in an accident, it could be a mistake, you just misplaced it. It could also be that it got destroyed in the fire, you got robbed. It could be any reason, right? And now you no longer have your dual citizenship card. Yeah, this is a national document, right? What do you do?
Well, you would have to apply for a new one, but you have to show them that indeed the passport, the card is no longer with you. And how is it not with you? Maybe you have to explain it. And it is better if you do that by getting a police report.
It's just like losing your passport.
Exactly.
First point of call to the police.
Yes, you get the police report that would actually chronicle what has actually happened to your card.
Yeah.
So that you can use that to apply for a new one. And you go through the same process you did to apply for the one that got lost, damaged, or whatever. The only addition is the police reports that you are going to add to the...
And if you have a photocopy of the missing card, you might add it just to beef up things, to speed up the whole situation.
Exactly. Yes. It makes things easier and just...
two passport size photos.
Yes, exactly. So instead of 4, now you're bringing in 2.
Yeah.
But it's important to mention that these cards do not expire.
Yes.
I mean, but, you know, technically, I think they do. In that, if, for instance, you lose one nationality, by operation of law, it's no longer a valid card, right?
Exactly.
So there are many nuanced areas to how it becomes an invalid document, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
We have some questions coming in by way of social media. Let's attempt to answer them, given that we have limited information and we do not have the opportunity to ask follow-up questions. We try our best, and we continue the conversation.
Sure.
And wrap it up today.
How do I know which country nationality I can hold alongside my Ghanaian citizenship?
Yeah, so we will not be able to give you a list here and tell you that you can, these are the countries where you can hold dual nationality. Like we said at the very beginning, citizenship is by the operation of law. So the jurisdiction you live would tell you whether they allow you to hold their nationality in addition to that of a second country or another country. So we can't tell you now that these are the countries where you can hold, because it changes.
Okay.
A few years ago, you couldn't hold Norwegian citizenship in addition to any other citizen, but now they've allowed it. Germany is doing the same thing, but they were not allowing it previously. It's an operation of law. If a country decides today that they are going to allow it, they move with it. If they decide tomorrow that they are going to scrap it and go back to their old system, that's it. It's
what we can say is that so far as Ghana is concerned, we allow dual citizenship.
Yes.
So if you're Ghanaian, you can choose to hold a second citizenship.
Yes.
But you, as to which country would work out, depends on whether they will accept you and whether they will accept Ghana as the other country. Because yes, some countries may actually allow dual citizenship, but have restrictions as to which countries are not allowed to be held alongside them. There are even countries that if you travel into their territories, and there will be other countries which will not give you visas based on the fact that you visited those countries.
Yes.
So it's something that, like you said, is an operation of law. You need to make sure that you are talking to the experts in the various jurisdictions. We will not sit on this show and pretend that we know all the laws of every other country and their immigration rules. So you are the one who is choosing your second nationality. If you want to discuss matters pertaining to Ghana, yes, immigration lawyers in Ghana can help you. But to the extent that you want to pick probably another country, you would have to talk to somebody there as well. especially as you need to also take on that citizenship before you try to do a merger.
Yeah.
So at that point, then you know what to do.
Exactly.
So what it means is that you have to first engage an expert, talk to somebody, know the pros and cons of even acquiring the second citizenship to that of Ghana.
Yes.
And then now you can make a firm decision as to whether you want that or not.
Don't just jump at any opportunity because you think there's an escape from the rest of us. You might just be thrown back here. We are all here. We are all in it together.
Exactly.
We all die here.
Exactly.
My wife is Canadian. I want to stay with her in Calgary to raise our kids. I am considering taking up her Canadian nationality too for ease of travel and other benefits there. Will this be possible?
Yes, so yeah, you can take it up if Canadian law allows you to hold multiple nationalities. You say you naturalize as a Ghanaian. That presupposes that you probably held another nationality before you naturalized or took on Ghanaian citizenship. So if you want to now take on Canadian nationality, that means you are taking on a third one. That's multiple nationality. So you would have to find out whether Canadian law allows you to
Ghana law talks about dual.
Yes.
We don't talk about
multiple.
Yes. So if, like, you know, before we introduced this segment, I talked about the fact that we don't have the benefit of follow-up. Did you renounce your first or primary nationality at the time you became Ghanaian? That's the first question. We can tell.
Yes.
So if you already are holding dual citizenship at this point, you might have to renounce either your Ghanaian citizenship or the primary one to be able to take on Canadian.
Exactly.
But let's say that you indeed did renounce, okay, and your only citizenship currently is Ghanaian. Your Ghanaian law, as the status quo is currently, allows for dual nationality, especially if it's Canada. So yes, you can take on that as well. Or if you like, you can renounce Ghanaian citizenship again and go through the Herculean task of taking on Canadian citizenship. So it's all really a mix of permutations, right?
Yes.
Based on what you seek to achieve and what you hold as valuable in terms of your citizenship.
We have to emphasize that Ghana is dual. We cannot, it's not
multiple,
triple, multi. And so if you want to add any other country, it shouldn't be a third country. You have to.
You need to drop one and then go. It's like add and drop.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, add and drop, yes.
So, earlier on the show, you, especially Hanan, mentioned the fact that Ghana law did not allow for dual citizenship. We had a strict single citizenship. Now, we know that there are apart from the Constitution, there are other laws that speak to the issue, and of course, new judicial pronouncements that also affect the discussion. Probably we can explain this whole situation and the implications to our viewers further. Yeah,
so when dual citizenship was introduced into our constitution, it came with some restrictions. There was a list of positions which Ghanaians or people holding dual citizenship could not hold.
Yes.
Subsequently, the Citizenship Act was passed, which added on to the list. So we had a situation whereby anyone holding dual citizenship cannot become a High Commissioner, an ambassador, Chief of Defense Staff, Inspector General of Police, Member of Parliament, President, the Commissioner for Customs, and etc. And then we added the Chief Justice, the Chief Director for Ministry, the Ministries, Commissioner for Value Added Tax, and some others. But just recently, there has been a new judicial pronouncement which has more or less altered the law as we know it. I think the case of Francis Osei-Bonsu,
the Attorney General.
So that new law essentially makes it it changes the status quo, whereby they have taken out those bits which were added by the citizenship law and make so that now a dual citizen can become a Chief Justice or a Justice of a Superior Court, can go up to become a Colonel in the armed forces can also become a chief director at the ministry. Yes. So it is very, very interesting.
I mean, it's caused some division. Some people think that that's a very slippery slope and it's dangerous. Other people think it's fair because, once again, the best of both worlds, right?
Yes. But then, if you look at the historical antecedent, the 1992 Constitution was emphatic. It says that you cease to be a citizen of Ghana if you attain citizenship of another country. That's what is stated. Yeah. So to amend that was the 1996 amendment, which sought to repeal that. It stated categorically that that provision is repealed. And it said now you can attain dual citizenship of another country. Yeah. Now, after that, it says, even though you can attain that, these sensitive positions, you have to be a citizen of Ghana only. You cannot be a dual citizen and then hold these sensitive positions. And it starts by saying that without prejudice to Article 94, which is Parliament. So for Parliament and for President, for that one is a no-no.
Hands off.
Then it now goes on to add Ambassador and High Commissioner, Secretary to Cabinet, Chief of Defense Staff, IGP, Commissioner of Customs, Director of Immigration. Now, the interesting bit is that it added that any office specified by an act of Parliament. So any office specified by an act of Parliament is what Parliament passed in the Citizenship Act. They passed the Citizenship Act and then included some other offices, which in the view of Parliament you should not be allowed to hold if you're a dual citizen. Then the Supreme Court had the opportunity to look into this in a case that, as my senior said, Francis Osebo. And then the Supreme Court says, you know what, this Citizenship Act and all the add-ons, in our view, is neither here nor there. So those add-ons should be removed. We should still revert to the original ones that the Constitution
But there was
stated.
an earlier case that upheld this position by the Citizenship Act. And then over time, the more recent one says, no, those add-ons should be struck out, such that what the Constitution specified is what we should work with. Which means that there's still yet another opportunity to go back to the prior position.
Exactly.
That was the case of Asari versus Attorney General, where those issues, those add-ons actually came to the fore once again. But then the courts did not heed to the prayer of the applicant and actually only sought to take out the parts which had to deal with the application for the dual citizenship card.
It's been great having you both on the show, gentlemen. It's been a very intense and interesting conversation. So thank you so much, Hanan Inche Asaku and Benjamin Ofori. My name is Noella Seidi. This has been Law Express on the topic, dual citizenship. Till next time, goodbye.